Yo, 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 8 p.m. We are live. If you're here, say something in the chat box. Let me know you're here. Let me know you exist. Currently live on the Instagram. We're going to give it a few minutes for people to come in. If you're here on Instagram, I am live right now. Click the link in my bio. Click the link in my bio, live on YouTube. Starting in 2 minutes. 2 minutes, we're starting. Topic of discussion today is how he makes you his girlfriend. I'm going to start in a few minutes. Just going to let everybody come in. Link is in my Instagram bio. Click that link. Feel free to just watch if you want to take part as well. Say something in the chat. Give it a wave. Yo, yo, yo. Everyone on Instagram, so click the link in my Instagram bio, which is going to take you to the live. So I'm going to close this in 2 minutes. Woo! I'm thirsty. Oh, yes, we've got 2 likes up in here. How's everyone doing? Yes, got my girl Natalia. How you doing? We had to set up the ring light and everything. Everyone on Instagram. No, I've not watched Bridgerton yet. Everyone on Instagram, hit the link in the bio. Link in the bio, gonna go straight to the live. Shout out to my boy Ty Holland. Mixed this song for me as well. 1 more minute. 30 seconds. Ooh, countdown. Yo, Susie, Femi, what's going on? Click the link in my bio, Instagram bio, click it. Watch the live right now on YouTube. Click the link in my bio, guys. Go to my YouTube. Let's get started. Okay. So, welcome to my first live for everyone joining in today. We're just gonna have a chat, really. We can just have a chat, see what's going on. And something very important that I want to talk about today. And this is how a guy makes you his girlfriend. So, I think what a lot of people don't, it's hard to realize is that we've been told so much growing up, especially with like romantic films and Disney films, especially, and stuff like that, that when we meet the right person, everything's going to happen in the most perfect way. You know, how we meet them is going to be the perfect way. How we date them is going to be perfect, and how the relationship is and forever after is going to be perfect, right? And if we haven't done that, it's because we just haven't met the right person yet. You know, like, for example, everyone now today says there's no way everyone has the idea of meeting my perfect person in real life, not on a dating app. But the truth and reality of it is that dating is a skill. And the reason that even though it may be the right person or whatever, things don't happen the perfect way, is because human beings, we're not perfect. And we are flawed human beings, but that's a good thing because it means that we can reach our highest potential. So dating is a skill. And I just want you to think about maybe think about a guy who is always getting girls, or thinking about a girl, you know, maybe one of your friends who she always has a guy on her arm. You know, she either goes from one relationship to the next. She's seeing guys, you know, she never really has a problem with guys. And it's because she has figured out what works. And she has figured out especially what it is that guys want. And not just what guys want, but how to date guys, which makes guys want to commit to her and get into a relationship with her. Like, I give you this example. There's someone who lives in my block. my apartment block, right? And when we moved in a couple of years ago, she was with this guy. And I think about 10 months in that they'd moved in, they'd broken up, right? And I think she bought the place and he moved in with her. But they'd broken up. I kid you not, within 6 months, this girl had not only found another really great quality guy, but was also engaged to him within 6 months. So you have girls like this who they know how to get that from guys and know how to play that. And then you have other girls where they struggle to get the attention, or mainly if you do get the attention, it's not the kind of attention that you want. You know, it's either just sexual attention, but it's never that real relationship intention. Now, there are different ways to think about, how do I date? What's the rules and all this? And I don't want to go into too much rules because that makes it sound too clinical. But the one thing I'm going to talk about today is the window of opportunity. And the window of opportunity is very important. And the window of opportunity is led completely by you, ladies. It's led completely by you. And the window of opportunity is the window in when you start seeing someone, when you start dating someone new, there is a window in which there's an opportunity in which it either goes in the way where it's going to become something serious in a relationship, or it becomes a situationship, right? Because we've all been in those situationships. And there's so many of us and so many, girls, especially out there, who are looking for something real, but they constantly find themselves in situationships where they start seeing a guy and they really like him and, he's making all the effort with her. And then they start being physical and everything like that. But then they're kind of having sex and being intimate, but then she finds herself after 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, even a year, she's still in this situationship where there isn't necessarily a label on it. You don't really know what are we? You've not had the what are we chat. And even if you've tried to have the what are we chat, there's deflection. So I want to talk about the window of opportunity here. And the window of opportunity generally takes place, and it's not from when you meet him or when from the first date, right? If we're applying a rule, like I always say in my videos, that, not to have sex with a guy straight away because that gives the wrong impression. It tells him, from your actions, don't matter what you say, if your actions show that you're very sexually early on, it tells him that you want something casual. No matter what you say, actions speak louder than words, and that's what it communicates to him. So assuming that you've been on a first date, you've been on a few dates, and maybe you start sleeping with him from maybe from 3 or 4 weeks in that you guys have started dating, right? Now, the window is about 2 to 4 weeks from the first time you start having sex with him. From the first moment you sleep with him, the window is from about 2 weeks to 4 weeks after that. And in that window, what is really important that you need to do is you have to make him make a decision. You have to make him make a decision. You have to make him make a decision on whether he is fully invested and committing to potentially building something with you, or whether he's just going to try and keep it casual. Now, of course, if that's not what you want, that can't be an option you give him. Now, why is this window of opportunity so important? Let me give you this analogy. When you're out in the city or something, and we get those food stands that they're giving samples out. So if anyone knows Mr. Pretzel, or sometimes they have cheese on sticks where you can have a sample, right? So imagine you've got a food stand, they're selling pretzels and they've got pretzels on a tray. And then you're walking past, right? And you go, oh, that looks nice. And you take one, tastes really good, right? And when we taste really good, when we have a sample, what do we all do? We walk back round again to get another sample, in which they give it to us. And then we walk around and get another sample and another one. And if we're really cheeky, we'll try and get as many samples as we can till we have our fill. Now imagine if we've gone round and we've taken like 6 samples, right? And then we come round again, and then the person who's holding the tray is just like, oh no, sorry, you need to buy one now because you've taken a lot. At that point, you're going to be like, well, I've kind of had my fill, so I'm not really committed to buying one. So then you don't buy one. And this is exactly the same thing when you start being sexually intimate with a guy. The sexual intimacy before the commitment, you should see as the sample. And why the window is so important, because what they usually do when they have stands is they'll let you have maybe 2. They'll maybe let you have 2 samples. And then if you try and get a third one, they go, you can't have any more samples. Now you have to commit to buying one if you want to taste more. And that's exactly what you ladies have to do with guys in the 2 to 4 week period after you start having sex. Because at that point, right, at that point, when you've had 2, samples, food samples from that stand, there are 3 things that you know, right, as the customer. 1, you know it's worth going to because you keep coming back to it, right? 2, you know it tastes good. You like it. You like it, you know it tastes good. And the third thing is, okay, I know that I want it. What am I willing to do to have it? What am I willing to do to have it? Now, the casual route would be, okay, I'm willing to walk around 4 or 5 times to keep having it until I get my fill. But if that's not an option, if it's not an option for you to go walk around 5 or 6 times because they say, hey, look, you need to buy one, then the only option for you to have it is for you to go and buy it, to actually go and buy a full one. And that's why they let you only have 1 or 2 samples, because they know this is how it works. So with guys, when you start being intimate with him, when you start having sex with him, right? The time from when you start having sex to when it's a commitment, that is the sample period. That's the sample for you. Because the thing is, ladies, you are the gatekeepers to sex. You are the gatekeepers to sex, right? The truth is, straight from the horse's mouth, I kid you not, majority of guys, if they see a girl that they find very attractive, if she was up for it that second, 99% of the time, guys would be like, yeah, I'm up for it. They're game. 99% of the time. So in that 2 to 4 week period, right, after you start being intimate, what you need to express to him, or this is what you can say to him, is you say, look, I'm really enjoying getting to know you. I'm really enjoying what we have. But it's now getting to the point where I need to know whether it's serious or not. And it's okay if you don't want the same thing. But if you don't, then I need to take a step back. And you need to really express to him that if you're both not on the same page at that point, that you are going to have to take a step back. And it's so important that you keep to this, because what will happen in a guy's mind is at that point, he'll go, okay, well, I really like her. We started having sex, we're being physically intimate. I'm really enjoying how it's going, where it's going. And I don't want to lose that. He wants more. He wants more of you. This is the point, and this is why it's called the honeymoon period, right? Because this is when you can't get enough. So because of that, ladies, understand that you have the leverage at that point. If a guy likes you, if he likes you as a person, and if he enjoys being physically intimate with you, right, then the ball is in your court. And I think, ladies, especially when it comes to sex, you kind of know this. The issue that I think the trap that a lot of women fall for is they will hope, they will just continue seeing a guy and continue being intimate with a guy in hopes that at some point down the line, at some point, he's just going to turn around and say, hey, should we just be in a relationship? Should we do that? And that's a big trap. The hopefulness is a big trap. And the reason that rarely happens, and this is why so many situationships occur, the reason that rarely happens is because a guy will not make that decision if he doesn't have to. If he doesn't have to make the call to be exclusive and go all in with you, to start building something, to get into a serious relationship with you, if he doesn't have to make that call, he's not going to make that call more often than not. And then that's when it's weird, like, sometimes there are some women who they'll be in situationships with guys for like 2 or 3 years. I'm like, 2 or 3 years? And it's like, okay, maybe it was fine for the first few months, but if you know that you wanted a relationship, how come there hasn't been a crossroads where you've gone, okay, either we're doing this or we're doing this? So I really want to emphasize how important it is that, ladies, you have to lead him into the relationship, right? Now, it's not all the time, because sometimes it's, it depends on the guy in terms of at what stage in life that he's in. Because sometimes, like, guys are like, hey, look, this is what I'm looking for. Like, I'm looking for a relationship. I'm looking to settle down. If that's the case, then this topic isn't relevant. But when it comes to the relationship, you have to lead him. You are leading him. You are the one who says, okay, if this is going to continue, then it's either this way or this way. And I know it can sound like you're given like an ultimatum. And this question, doing it this way, it can be quite nerve-wracking for a lot of people, especially a lot of women, because we're scared that it's not going to be the answer that we want it to be. We're scared of, okay, if I say to him, hey, look, I really need to know that we're on the same page, otherwise I need to take a step back. We're worried that he's going to go, all right, cool, let's take a step back, I'm fine. That's what we're worried about. So in order to avoid the answer that we don't want, we either massively postpone it or we never, ever ask it. We never, ever make him make a decision. But we have to know that while we are avoiding the answer that we don't want to get, we are stopping ourselves from having the answer that we do want to have, from having the answer that we deserve and that we have chosen to invest in. So, one, you need to make a guy, it's really important that you have to make sure that you make him make a decision. Because, ladies, you are the gatekeepers for sex, but guys are the gatekeepers for relationships. When 9 out of 10, right? 9 times out of 10, usually, when a guy and a girl have sex, it's because she said yes, because we know he's always up for it, right? When a guy and girl have been seeing each other, usually, if they're in a relationship, it's because he said yes, right? That's why traditionally, it's men who've been the ones to propose, because it's almost, and this isn't all the time, because, not all proposals that, everyone says yes to, but more often than not, you're at that point before guys are. You're at that point when you're ready for that before we get there. Whereas when it comes to the physical intimacy, guys, we're ready. We're at that point. If we see you and we think you're fine, we're there. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you're like, okay, yeah, you might be fine, but, do I like you? Like, are you a good person? And that's the way it should be. Thank you, Hack Storyteller. Hope you enjoyed my analogy. I love Mr. Pretzel, so I had to keep it with that. So moving forward, I think what's really important is a lot of the time people ask, okay, when is the right time to have sex with him? When is the right time to start being physically intimate with him? And I don't feel that there's a rule. I don't like saying, okay, it's the second day, or okay, it's the third day, or the fifth day, or it's a month. This is the best metric to use. Would you introduce him to your friends? Do you know him well enough, and are you comfortable enough in who he is as a person that you're comfortable enough to bring him as a guest to one of your friends' things? Because obviously when we bring someone as a guest, they are a representative of our choices, right? They are a representative of, they represent our choice, who we like, almost kind of what our values are. Because imagine if you bring a guest, when someone brings a guest to your party and that person is terrible, that makes you reflect on the person who brought the guest. That makes you reflect on, why did this person bring this person a +1? Like, I kind of judge them wrong. So if if your friends were having a party, you started seeing a guy and your friends were having a party next week, let's say they're going out clubbing or something, would you feel comfortable bringing him as your +1? Would you feel comfortable introducing him as your +1? Because if your friends were having a party on Sunday and you met a guy Thursday night, you don't know him. You're not going to take him as your +1. But if you've been seeing him for a couple of weeks, you've been on a few dates, you really start to get to know him, you've had good conversations, and you're comfortable enough to go, yeah, no, I'll introduce you to my friends. It's nice to, as a +1. If the answer is yes, then it's the right time to have sex with him. And from then, when you start being physically intimate, a few weeks in is when that's where, you're both wanting it all the time, but especially the guy. The guy's like, I want you near me all the time. I want you on me. I want you all the time. I just want you, right? That is the perfect point for you to go, I want this as well. But to continue having this, I need to know that we are exclusive. I need to know that this is not casual. And if you're afraid that it's not going to be the answer that you want, I want you to look at it this way. If it's not the answer that you want, then you have saved your time. It is better to know within 2 months than within 2 years. It is better to know 2 months in that he's not willing to give you what it is that you want than 6 months in, than 8 months in. Because if you get to that point, 8, 9, 10 months down the line, you feel like you've wasted your time. And you feel like, okay, he's just been having fun. It's not been exclusive. I don't even know if he's been exclusive to me. Which is the truth is, if you're not in a relationship, and I said this in one of my videos, if you are not in a relationship with a guy, if he is not in a relationship with you, if he has not expressed that he is exclusive to you, then assume he is having fun with other people, or assume that he is open to having fun with other people. Because the truth is, generally speaking, a lot of the time, if guys will have fun, if guys can just be kind of, have casual things, multiple things on the go, then most of the time they do. Not all the time, but most of the time, if it's okay. But then the second you come in and say, hey, look, you can have this with me, but this is the deal, right? Immediately that puts you above the rest, because he goes, oh, I can't just do what I want with this girl. I can't just do what I want with this woman. And the fact that she's actually kind of made me go, okay, I need to make a decision. Not only does that make him more likely to choose you, but it also makes him respect you. And that's also a way of respecting yourself. So that's the main thing I want to talk about today on this live stream. I'm glad that everyone tuned in. Throw some comments. Anyone throw me some questions about anything that I just said about either the window of opportunity or the kind of time period. But I just wanted to do a quick one for you guys this evening on this Friday night. I really want you to take that from this video today. about the window of opportunity. And it's that window that a guy decides whether, or that the decision is made, whether it's going to be a situationship or whether it's going to be a relationship. And if you know in yourself that you want a relationship, then you have to have the courage to make that decision. Is there a way to recover from having sex too early? Great question. There is a way to recover. There is a way to recover. And it's a similar way to if you're in the friend zone. Now, there's mainly two ways to recover. If you've started having sex with a guy too, like, relatively early, and you've been sexually intimate quite a bit, and you feel like it's got to the point where, like, I don't feel that he's going to give the answer because we've been having it for a certain period of time, the first thing you have to do is you have to stop having sex with him. You have to stop having sex with him. You have to distance yourself from him. And the reason you have to do that is because you have to start communicating to him in your actions that he can't have this with you unless it's going to mean something. Because what up to that point, he's been having that with you, and it's not really, what you're building hasn't really meant anything because it's not been established yet. So because it hasn't been established, for him, it's just like, well, why would I establish it later when I've kind of already been having, I've been having you physically, I've been spending time with you, I've been getting all the benefits of a relationship without having to, commit myself to it. So one, you have to distance yourself immediately. And the second thing, which is the ultimate rule, is because you've already built up something now, is that on no conditions do you have sex with him now outside of a relationship. And the reason I say you have to distance yourself is because there's going to be a time period in which, so if I go back to the analogy of having the pretzel or whatever, if, for example, you've had 6, 7, 8 samples and you've had your pretzel fill, so you're not going to buy one because you've had your fill, right? The likelihood of you wanting another one straight away, it's not going to happen. It probably won't happen until the next day, where you've gone without it and you've had enough time to go without it and had enough time to miss it that you go, I could really do with one. And that's kind of what needs to happen. There needs to be enough space, and then you need to give enough distance that it gives time for him to go without it and for him to miss it. It is incredibly difficult, and I would never say this is the way, because while there may be exceptions to the rule, we don't want to live our lives by the exception, because 99% of us will be disappointed, most of the time. But it's incredibly difficult, and it is unlikely that if you had been sexually intimate with him over an extended period of time, that suddenly he's just going to say, yeah, let's get into a relationship, if you throw him that question. And the reason it's very difficult is because he hasn't had to. The decision wasn't in that window. The window had kind of passed. Now, it's not impossible, because sometimes it does happen where two people are being intimate, nothing's really said, but that connection is there where, and he's just so into you that it's just like, you know what, I just don't see any other girl. I just don't see any other girl that way, and you might as well put a label on it because we're doing that already. So the best thing to do for that is to distance yourself and allow enough time for him to not have it and then miss it. In the case of the pretzel, if he gives you no indication that he wants to be with you more seriously, what in your opinion is a good way to phase out the relationship without ghosting or hurting him? That's a great question. I really love this question, because I think a lot of guys feel that like they're treated like they don't have feelings, they don't have emotions. Because sometimes, what if a guy is really into you, but you're like, I'm just not feeling it. Honesty is the best policy. Honesty is the best policy. Because if you think, how many times have we been ghosted? You know, how many times have you been ghosted by someone and you just thought, if you didn't want this, I just want to know why. You know, I just want to know why, or I just want to know if it's over. Like, should I start moving on? Can I start seeing other people? Should I start being intimate with other people? So the honesty is the best policy, and it's harder. It can feel very hard for us because we're worried about how the person's going to take it, and of course, we don't want to hurt them. And maybe at first they might feel a bit hurt, but then I guarantee you, a month down the line, they'll be thanking you. They'll be like, you know what? I really appreciate you just giving it to me straight, because a lot of people, we're afraid to hurt other people's feelings, so that can stop us from being truthful. So yeah. Oh, we've hit 30 minutes already, guys. That's been so quick. So yeah, that's mainly what I want to talk about. I want you guys to take that with you. I'm going to start doing some more streams because I really like being able to interact with people, interact with you if you want to answer questions and stuff like that. And, I want this to be, I enjoy making the videos, but I want this to be more of a discussion. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it there with you. I'm going to let you get back to your evening, have your dinner, watch whatever you're watching. Someone asked me if I was watching Bridgerton. I haven't started watching that. But yeah, I'm going to start doing some more of these, and I'll throw it down the line, and I'll post about it so you'll stay up to date. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've taken something away from it. And if you ever just want to ask me something or want to throw something my way, you know where to find me. All right. So thanks everyone. Have a lovely Friday night, and I will see you in the next video.